Namaskar. Good evening, one and all. टीचर, अध्यापक, अध्यापिकाओं, हम लोग आज शिक्षा शिल्पी का 25वां कार्यक्रम, आज तक हम लोगों ने 25 लेक्चर देखे हैं। अभी 26वां लेक्चर आज हो रहा है। उसमें आप जो अर्ली चाइल्डहुड से लेकर हम लोगों ने हायर सेकेंडरी मतलब वो जो एक्सरेज के तब तक वो सुना है। उसमें हम लोग एक्सपेरिमेंट देखे, हैंड्स ऑन एक्सपेरिमेंट देखे हैं। फिर जो एनवायरमेंटल के बारे में कुछ देखा है, कुछ मेट्रोलॉजिकल, कुछ प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में, ऐसा बहुत सारा विज्ञान के जो अलग अलग पहलू है उसमें हम लोग प्रकाश डाल रहे हैं। उसको सभी अध्यापकों का भी हम लोग को फीडबैक बहुत अच्छा आ रहा है, बिकॉज दे आर गेनिंग समथिंग, दे आर लर्निंग समथिंग which is very we feel that happy that there are good responses from the teacher community. Today we have a very interesting session, and I'm sure that you will enjoy it. That session is from the very famous person from renowned institute from Mumbai, that is Homi Baba Center for Science Education. I request our core team member, Dr. P.K. Joshi, to introduce the speaker. Thank you.
Good evening, teachers. Professor V.G. Gambhir is much senior to me, but we are still colleagues, and it's always a pleasure to introduce him. He was faculty at Homi Baba Center for Science Education, TIFR, for 33 years. He was closely associated with several national and state level projects, and he still is, like Children's Science Congress, Pratham, involved with science textbook writing, several TV and radio programs, teacher training programs, which I have been fortunate enough to be with him at several of them. He has been chairman of the Maharashtra State Committee Curriculum Reforms. He was also involved with Junior Science Olympiad for several years, starting from 2008, which is where we started participating in the International Junior Science Olympiad. He was team leader in 2008, 2009, which was at Korea and Azerbaijan, and as recently as in 2018 to Botswana. He is president of the Astronomical Society of Solapur. He has received many national and international awards. In the national, the most famous one being Homi Baba Science Award, which is given by TIFR, and Dr. Abdul Kalam Rashtriya Chetna Award. With these few words, I invite Professor Gambhir to give a talk which we all look forward to, which is usually very, very motivating. Professor Gambhir.
Thank you, Joshi, for the kind words. Good evening and pranam, sabhi dost, from all parts of the country. I'm told that many of you are from north, equal number from south, and so I need to be bilingual. Now, how I can achieve it? You have to decide it. Okay. As told by Jen right in the beginning, today's session is a different kind of session, different from whatever you have enjoyed earlier. Feel relaxed. It's not a lecture on some topic like radioactivity or X-ray and all that. Nor for any particular grade in school, 8th class, 9th class, 7th, or whatever it is. Well, friends, in Maharashtra, just 2-3 years ago, there was a program which was very, very popular and appreciated by people, especially middle class families. Title was Ayush Shower Bolu Kahi. It means let's talk about our life. अपनी जिंदगी पे कुछ बात करें. And it was typically aimed and designed for middle class families, their aspirations, dreams, life experiences, and so on. Today's session is somewhat of that similar kind, but designed for science teachers. As a family of science teachers, a very big family, why can't we talk about our own experiences, our expectations, experiences, and share them amongst? So that will be the kind of thing that we will be dealing today. तो जो बात करेंगे वो कोई पर्टिकुलर क्लास की नहीं रहेगी, कोई पर्टिकुलर थीम, फिजिक्स, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, स्टैटिक इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, नथिंग लाइक इन जनरल. अच्छा, हम सब लोगों को पता है कि अब्दुल कलाम सर हो या रघुनाथ माशेलकर, ये तो दुनिया भर के जाने माने साइंटिस्ट. कई बार इन्हें ये पूछा जाता है कि आपको साइंस में इंटरेस्ट जो कुछ आया, जो कुछ भी आपने किया, उसके लिए इंस्पिरेशन किसने दिया, कब दिया? और सिर्फ कलाम सर या माशेलकर जी की बात नहीं है. आज भी किसी भी एडवांस रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूशन में जाओ, वहां पे काम कर रहे जो साइंटिस्ट है उनसे बात करो और यही पूछो कि व्हाट मेड यू, व्हाट इंस्पायर्ड यू टू डू साइंस. एंड वेरी ऑफन, not only in India, abroad also, the answer is my science teacher when I was a school going child. ये प्लेजर. अपनी हालत क्या है? आज के स्टूडेंट्स कई सालों तक क्या हमें याद करेंगे? करेंगे तो किस लिए करेंगे? क्यों? तो यही एक कॉमन रोना जो है, और वो रोना नहीं है, रियलिटी है कि साइंस, मैं सचमुच साइंस पढ़ा रहा हूँ या नहीं, खुद को शक आता है. हम सब, ऑल ऑफ अस आर साइंस टीचर्स, बट वेरी ऑफन वी आवरसेल्व्स आर कंफ्यूज्ड. Am I teaching science or textbook verbatim, by paragraph, order of concepts, questions to be answered, everything is governed by the textbook. And so every day going to a class, chapter number 3, page number 13, whether book is there in my hand or not, but what I speak is simply the printed text impregnated in my mind and try to impregnate it into students' mind. So really an annoying situation. As a science teacher, we ourselves feel it. So can I have pleasure of teaching science? Both things, capital pleasure and science, not the textbook. Will it be possible? And that's what we will be talking or sharing today. And the title of today's session. Yes, I can do this. And what is that? Enjoying pleasure of teaching science. Okay, but really, if you want to experience this during the session, quite for some time, each one of us rather, I will say, will have to become a school going child, a student in the class which you are teaching right now at present. Maybe schools are not open today, but till recently, and after the lockdown is over. So truly become a child of that class. What does it mean? It means wherever you get opportunity to think, make your decision in your mind, and then in verification and whatever it is, if you have to change, whenever there is opportunity, compose your opinion in your own words. Don't bother about the language of the textbook, formal language, this language. Just like that child, frame your answer, frame your guess in your own words. Okay? And maybe whenever you get the opportunity, right now, today, there will not be physically possible, but whatever is talked about here or you enjoy, you see, try it at your home and enjoy that pleasure first, and then how to transmit it to children will be a later question. So, and maybe at times, if you want to be, you can become naughty child. So, for any question raised, any query raised, you can think of some naughty answer also. What to do with this kind of answer? We'll talk about it later. Okay. So, right in the beginning, let me verify, let me check whether you can really become children, behave like those children. Okay. So, look at me. I have stretched both my hands like this, these fingers facing each other. You can try it. Now, what I am doing is both the eyes are open, fingers at my eye level, and hands at some distance. Bring them closer quickly to make these fingertips rather, meet each other. Try it again and again. Is it a very difficult task? You will laugh at me. Now, close your one eye and sincerely, honestly, close your one eye. Again, stretch the hands straight, fingers facing each other, and quickly bring them together to make these tips meet. One eye closed, and try it again and again. Was it that easy? What happened? When both the eyes were open, no problem. But with one eye closed, at times this finger goes behind, at some other times this goes behind. What does it mean? It simply means our judgment of distance between the two. That's going wrong. With both the eyes open, it's perfectly all right. But with one eye, my own hands fully under my control, but the task becomes difficult. Judgment of distance. Okay. Now, with this experience, firstly, you will be curious to know why does it happen. Secondly, I ask you a simple question. With your both eyes closed, maybe blindfolded, you are brought on the edge of a one big gutter. At that point, one eye is opened, the other is still blindfolded, and you are asked to jump over that gutter on the other side. दोनों आंखें बंद करके एक गटर के पास लाइए, थोड़ा चौड़ा सा गटर है, और एक कोने पे खड़ा रह के एक आंख आपकी खोल दी और कह दिया कूदो दूसरी साइड में. Are you sure that you will be safely standing on the other side or somewhere in between? Think on the basis of this experience. With one eye, what happens, what goes wrong. Okay, so how do we describe this? Words 2D vision, 3D vision don't mean anything, but actually, this is what we are speaking about. When we see a photograph printed on a paper or a wall, whatever it is, or even in cinema theater, image on the screen, it has only height and breadth. From our common sense, we decide which things seen in that photograph or image are closer and which are far behind. But in reality, all of them are in the same plane. But in our vision, we have the sense of depth, height, breadth, and depth also. And that's why we call it 3D vision, 3 dimensions. Okay. Okay, one other thing you may try along with me, maybe right now or later on when you get up. What to do? Just look at me. I have simply some paper, any paper. It can be waste paper, newspaper, blank paper, whatever it is. I'm rolling it to make a small cylindrical pipe, not as thin as my finger or ball pen, and not very, very broad, just like a pipe used for plumbing or taps. Now, again, what I will be doing is I'm going to use this cylinder, this pipe, as if it is a telescope. Maybe there is no lens nothing, but just like telescope. So what do? I put this telescope right near one eye and first decide, oh, can I see the things in front of this? My friends or things in the surrounding. Okay. Then what I do is both the eyes open. Remember, both the eyes open. This telescope near one eye. I spread my palm like this, straight. Bring it somewhere halfway to this pipe. Make it touch and keep on looking. Both the eyes open. Right. And you will be very much surprised. Something very strange, very strange. Does it happen with one eye or left eye only? Or it happens in case of both the eyes. So what should I do? Simply shift it to other eye. Spread palm like this. Bring it from here. So firstly, you have to decide what is the very strange thing that you want to see, experience. One thing. Secondly, does it happen with one eye or for both the eyes? That's true. Thirdly, instead of my palm, one can use other objects, whatever is available in the surrounding. Maybe my notebook, science textbook, mobile phone, tiffin, any non-transparent thing through which light does not pass. Hold it in place of palm like this, observe, and again you will be surprised that it's not only for my palm, but it's happening with other things also. Why should it happen? For your preparedness, I will tell you that when I did like this, I felt as if there is a hole or a window in my palm, and I'm able to see the things behind through that hole. Same thing with other opaque objects, notebook, mobile, whatever it is. Why should it happen? When these things are opaque, don't allow light to pass through. Honestly, I am telling you, and that happens with everybody. As if there is a window in that opaque object and you are looking through that window. Why should it happen? So make your own case and then decide, can we make use of such activities, such experiences? It will make you, compel you to think, make some guess, and then try to find out whether your guess was right. And make sure one thing, get out of the textbook, get out of those printed paragraphs, not recalling the printed sentences on page number 13, 72, or whatever it is. Whatever I experienced, what is so strange about it? And I feel that it happens so because in your own words. Don't get bogged down in textual language. And when you make that argument, maybe your friend will say, oh, I don't agree with this because somewhere else I have seen this, that, whatever it is. There will be argument, counter argument, and all that. And all that experience will keep on making you rich. Now, on this background, just imagine when I say, not only you, we, we were school students, class 3, 4, whatever it is. There used to be a chapter on sense organs. What did our teachers do? Just we see with eyes, nose is useful in smelling, ears help you in hearing, tongue and all that. These organs provide information about the surrounding, and therefore they are called sense organs. Over. Maybe some enthusiastic teacher would add two sentences, never put any pointed object in the ear, or be careful about your eyes. That's just 3, 4, maximum 5 minutes. Sense organs is over. Actually, how many students in the class didn't know at all that we see with the eyes? We can hear because we have ears. If that is the case, then what is the science I have taught as a science teacher? Is it science? Or one has to go beyond that. See some science, feel some science. So that can be done very easily, but have you noticed that I didn't declare right in the beginning that what happens about sense organs, how to go into this and all. We just started with some activity which was enjoyable, which in itself was some experience, which as soon as a child I go home, I will call my parents, brothers, neighbors, hey, come here, take this paper, try this. What did you see? And then when everybody is surprised, the child starts explaining what is meant by seeing. Our eyes by themselves don't see anything. They are simply cameras. Image is formed at the back, and information or message about that image sent to brain. Job is over. What we see is not here, somewhere inside here. Analyzing those messages where what you are seeing is a picture of tiger or it is a statue, it's not real tiger, and all sorts of things. Both the eyes, when we look around, the pictures found in both the eyes is more or less similar. There is a difference, slight difference, but more or less similar. Each eye will send its message, and then brain takes over the job of interpreting and informing you. For the first time in life, for the first time, it so happens that the image in one eye and the image in other eye are very different. Brain is not aware that you are cheating him. or you are playing some mischief. By habit, it interprets both the images together and tells you that there is a hole in your palm and you are seeing that. Now the child understands what is meant by seeing, what is 3D vision, what is its importance. And then maybe you can also talk about some other animals in, for example, tiger, lion, cat. They have to chase rapidly running, moving prey. At proper moment, they have to leap and jump over that prey and kill it. So the judgment of distance is very critical and important for them. Suppose a very big bull is running quite fast, tiger wants to kill it, jumps, but the judgment goes wrong and the tiger falls right in front of the bull. What's going to happen? And then you notice, look at the position of their eyes on the face. Just like us, lion, tiger, cat, owl, and many others, which straightway jump, leap over the prey, pick it up, kill it, whatever it is, but judgment never goes wrong. In all those animals, their eyes are right in the front. Can a bull or goat jump over their prey without mistake? Think about it. Can they? And if not, why not? Look at the position of their eyes. They are not right in front, one on this, the other on this. And if for judgment of depth, we again and again say or feel, believe that seeing with both eyes and the brain really looks for the difference. I said more or less similar, but there is a difference. Brain looks at that difference and then tells you about the distance, depth, all this information. It's not there in the textbook, but is it not related with sensing, seeing? What is meant by seeing? What are the kinds of things and very important natural facts? At the end, I can say that seeing and hearing are not the only two senses. There are some others also. Then talk about the remaining ones. Children are going to read the book, answer the questions and all that. But my job is not to read that पोथी. वो पोथी पढ़ना टेक्स्ट बुक की जो है चैप्टर नंबर 1, उसके बाद 2, 3 चलता रहेगा. और कई बार ये भी होता है कि एक चैप्टर शुरू कर दिया तो एक पीरियड में ज्यादा से ज्यादा 2 पीरियड में खत्म भी हो गए. टेक्स्ट बुक में चैप्टर्स होते कितने हैं और अपने पास दिन कितने हैं. तो ये चिंता मत करो कि ऐसा कुछ करते रहे तो वो सिलेबस पूरा कैसे होगा. सिलेबस पूरा करने का मतलब क्या होता है. So when I do something like this in a class, I feel, oh, today I have done something very special. Children enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And whenever in their life there will be any question, discussion about things like this, they will certainly remember me. शायद ये भी कह सकते हैं कि आज के अपने स्टूडेंट्स जो है वो जब ग्रैंडफादर्स बनेंगे और उनके पोते बच्चे उनके पास आके ये कह देंगे कि पापा जी ये कोल्ड ब्लडेड, वार्म ब्लडेड, ये क्या है, कुछ पता ही नहीं चलता है, सारा याद रखना पड़ता है. तो हंस के उस समय तो कहेगा आए इधर आ, मैं कुछ करूं या बताऊं, फिर तुझे पता चल जाएगा आराम से. और ये जब कहता रहेगा उसके दिमाग में मेरी छवि रहेगी और मन में मन ही मन स्माइल करता रहेगा. अरे जब मैं तेरे उम्र का था, तेरे एज का था, मेरे टीचर ने मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग बताया, दिखाया था। ऐसा होता जाए तो प्लेजर ऑफ टीचिंग साइंस तो दूर नहीं होता, आसानी से कर सकते। तो सिंपल ट्रिक, पहली चाबी, फर्स्ट की that will open the doors of this pleasure, different kinds of halls of this pleasure, is freedom from the textbook. Okay, I have gone through the textbook. I know at this level what are the concepts to be introduced under that head, under that theme, whatever it is. Now I will decide. I will not go word by word, but I will decide what is it that I can add to this. This text will be there in the background, but I want to do something very special, which my children will never forget, never forget in them. That's one thing. Secondly, it has to be enjoyable experience, not the experiments as prescribed in the textbook. Title of the experiment: materials needed, procedure, observations, and conclusion. That's journal writing style. In class, that doesn't work. It's not a poem to be recited. It has to be experience. Experience that will make children think, come out with their own guess, and then argue and learn. Okay. So, in that line, what are the possibilities? Several things have been tried and all. Okay, in several teacher orientation programs, I have tried this. Not necessary to repeat it here by myself, but the moment I take these three things in my hand, a glass, candle, and matchstick, you will start laughing, I'm sure, because that is the one and perhaps only experiment we have seen when we were students, and perhaps the only experiment that almost every teacher has demonstrated in the class. So right now I will not repeat it here. Suggest you something. Even though you have shown this experiment thousands of times, at your leisure time, try this once again and see what happens in teacher training programs. I tell you, the moment we show this, they start laughing because they believe oxygen is required for burning. Okay. And then I suggest, okay, you know everything. Even then, why can't some of us perform this right here in front of others? So one teacher come forward, rushes, starts doing tricks mistake and tries to burn the everything. But again and again, right in the beginning, I repeat this instruction that keep your eyes open and try to see everything that happens right in front of you. Quickly lights the candle, puts it, and goes off, and I ask them, what did you see? And almost chorus answer is the flame went out because oxygen in the glass tumbler got exhausted or was used up. I asked, what did you see? And the unanimous answer is the flame went out. That part is true. But What about the other remaining part? Did you see oxygen in that tumbler? Are you sure that completely used up? It is used up, or some little quantity of oxygen is still there in that air inside. The things that you did not see at all, you cannot see at all, come out as the instant conclusion, observation, everything. And there are 100 other things that you can see, but nobody has ever taught us that look, when something like this, not like this, anything in surrounding, when you say I want to observe and seeing are not the same. Seeing is simply having a glance, oh, it was there. But in observing, you must have the habit of being very keen about everything. And only the curiosity may come. So I asked the teacher, okay, all of you have seen it. Now try to answer my question. But one condition. If you have seen it really, you will speak about it. But if you have not seen and simply wise guess, because I'm a science teacher, I can guess, no wise guess. If you have seen, answer it. If you have not, keep quiet. When you try something like this, few questions for example. Okay, when the flame went out, did it go out from the top to bottom or bottom to top? Answer. Was there a change in height of the flame? It increased before it went out or decreased when it was going out? When the flame went out, was there anything happening at the tip of the wick of that candle? वो मोमबत्ती में जो धागा होता है, ज्योति तो बुझ गई, लेकिन जैसे भी बुझी, उसके टॉप एंड पे कुछ होता ना, क्या था? अच्छा, what about smoke? Amount and color and shape, whatever it is, while the flame was burning and after the flame went out, was there any difference? And what was the shape of the smoke rising up? Which simply reveals to you that there are 100 things right happening in front of me, but I'm so much bogged down. I, in the sense, not only teacher, but students also, they're made to do it. That straight we jump to the class extreme because oxygen was not. When you do this, then how do we find out answers? The only solution is try it again. And for every such question, you keep on trying it again and again, and I'm sure you will be surprised that, oh, till this age, I never noticed these things. When as long as there was flame, there was no soot, no smoke to be noticed. But when the flame went out, there was a lot of smoke, and that smoke was white in color, not black. And very strange thing is, inside the glass, that rising smoke took the shape of a tree, the big trunk and the foliage, umbrella type foliage. Does it happen every time? Or it happened only when you tried this, next time something else? When try it again. Try dozens of times and you will notice that every time that is the shape of that rising smoke. And very surprisingly, exactly the same shape you will notice in the photographs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki atom bomb explosions. Same shape, tree-like structure. should it happen so? This curiosity will rise only when I notice it. Somebody brings it to my notice, and then things can move very far ahead, far beyond the text. Okay, with the same thing, few more questions. I have the same glass. That means volume of the air inside remains the same. If I use this small piece of candle right here, make it burn, put it over, and measure the time taken by the flame to go out. Is it possible? Perhaps you might feel it very difficult. Really, it's not very difficult. You show it and ask the children, can we measure the time? How long was the flame burning? Or how much time did it take to go out? Oh, who will look at the watch and then what happens to the flame? Or if I keep on looking at the flame and watch, and many of us don't have a watch at all. Tell them a simple trick. Keep on saying Hindustan, 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 Hindustan. Continuously. I light the flame candle, take the glass. The moment I put it like this, start saying it and keep count. How many times did you say this? You'll be surprised. 7 times Hindustan, talking that word, will be exactly 7 seconds. It has nothing to do with Hindustan. It can be Pakistan. Any 4 word or letters with 2 complex. You can say Brahmaputra, Brahmaputra, Brahmaputra. Same thing. So, without looking at the watch, you can confidently say it was burning for 8 seconds, 9 seconds. Maybe 50 children right in front. Some will say 7 seconds, few others will say 8 seconds. And then you will have to compromise. Okay, we'll take it as 8 seconds. Very good. Now, I had this small candle. There is a large variety of candles. This is thicker one. If I use this one instead of this, will it burn for same 8 seconds or less or more? We don't have any answers. We'll have to try it. Why not make children? Oh, come on, one lesson. Come on, help me. I give these things in your hand and start doing this. And again, the same instruction to other students in the class. Keep eye, watch everything that happens in front of you. Maybe you will have another very good opportunity when children come right in front and try to ignite the flame, try to burn the candle. It's not easy for children. They have to try again and again with many failures and all that. As teachers, I ask you, how many of you had parents or grandparents who called you nearby and told you, come on, bacha, I will teach you how to use this matchstick. आप लोगों में से कितने टीचर्स ऐसे हैं कि जिनको घर के फैमिली के किसी मेंबर ने ग्रोन अप मेंबर ने पास बिठा के बच्चा सीख ले इसको कैसे से लगाना है ये सिखाया है और कितने लोग ऐसे हैं कि बचपन में आजू बाजू में कोई नहीं है देख के चोरी चोरी और तभी तो जब बच्चों को पूछोगे क्या क्या देखा, इसने ट्राई किया, उसने ट्राई किया, उसने ट्राई किया, तो पहला पॉइंट यही क्यों ना करो कि ये मैच से कैसे सिलगाया, सभी एक जैसा था। तो फिर पता चलेगा कोई इसे पकड़ के यूं रगड़ रहा है, कोई इसको यहाँ पकड़ के ऐसा कुछ कर रहा है, कोई तो इसको उल्टा अपनी ओर ही खींच रहा है। प्रोजेक्ट में देखो आंखें खुली रख के अलग अलग लोगों के अलग अलग तरीके होते हैं, हंसी आती है कभी कभी। और यही तो ट्रबल होता है कि बच्चों को भी ठीक से पता नहीं है, जब बड़ों को नहीं है बच्चे क्या करें, कि इसे सिलगाने का सेफ तरीका क्या। If you hold it right at the end here and start doing like this, chances of breaking the stick midway, they are there. No doubt, this is the most dangerous thing, the burning part, just in your own direction. Some children hold it so closely and try it that as soon as it ignites, the heat of the flame compels you to throw it down without bothering what is there around. So why not teach the children? Come on, today we will learn this. How to hold it, how and where to hold this, which way should it strike the surface. And then you can safely tell them that holding it midway, not very tight with high pressure. Be careful that it will not slip down midway, not extreme end here or near the tip. In slant direction, if you do it, it becomes quite easy. When you ignite the things, you make use of it, then it's your duty to blow out and then put it down at a very safe place. Those who never had an opportunity to get this kind of training keep on doing throughout their life. This is not science. Oh yeah, there is some science. Why slant in this direction and all that. Content wise, not any factual information. How to put jumpers and these something like that. But it's a very useful skill. So in doing many such activities, there will be lots of skills involved. And if you do it and allow children to practice right in front of you, children will certainly remember. Not every time, but whenever there is something about igniting the match, failures, problems, they will. So, lastly, I have asked you the same similar thing. This small piece, the same variety of candle with little more height, the same tumbler, if time taken by this is 8 seconds, will it keep on burning for 8 seconds or for more time or less? Make a guess. Same amount of, same volume of air. So amount of oxygen will remain the same for every flame. Variety of candle is same, only difference is in height. Will it burn for same time or there will be difference? And what sort of difference? Make your guess. Try it and then start thinking, oh, why should it happen like this? Make your own guess and then come out with something like maybe I can help you with a very simple clue. I had this slightly thicker paper invitation card type. Putting a tea saucer, I drew outer circle and then from the nearby center, just do a spring like thing and then put it on display. a hole at the center and pass a thread with a knot. Now, if I hold it like this, what do you see? A spiral, paper spiral. Okay, because of this fan here, it has started rotating. But in classroom, if there's steady air and you hold it like this, it's steady. Make one like this and light a candle and hold it slightly above the flame here and observe what happens. I'm not doing anything, simply holding it. But as soon as the flame is there below, it starts moving rapidly. Take it away, it will stop. Again above the flame, it will start rotating. And try to rotate in other direction now. You will find it's impossible. Maybe slightly above or slightly lower, speed of rotation will change, but the direction will remain the same. Now there is nothing, rather no force, no agency around to give it a push, and still it rotates in same direction. Why should it happen? There must be something rising up which makes it rotate like this. And what it can be? Simply the hot air. When there is flame below, it rotates. Remove the flame, it stops. Hot air rises up. That's the simply printed sentence in the textbook. Without any significance, without any life experience and related. But then ask the children, in any manner, whatever you do, I want to see it rotating in other direction. Try it yourself. And rest assured that within 2 3 days, every child will have similar paper spiral in his notebook, in his school bag, and some child will say, "Oh, initially when I tried it like this, it was rotating like this. Forget about clockwise and anti-clockwise, like this. But I made a trick. I did something, and then the same spiral, when I hold in similar manner, they are. Why not you try it yourself first? That is yet another trick. Any idea that comes, firstly, one has to try it himself. Then think, how can I make it more interesting? So there can be many things which children will like. Okay? So what is required is some trigger. How many of you are not breathing right now? Somebody in your family who is not breathing? Again, you will laugh. What nonsense. Okay, right from the moment of birth, we have been breathing for years together, whatever number of times every minute, whatever it is. If I ask you, in normal breathing, how much air do you take in? How much air do you breathe in? Normal breathing. Okay. And if it's a deep breathe, how much more air? 2 times, 3 times, 10 times. The question is interesting. There is no answer. Because to answer this, one has to measure the volume. Maybe not very accurately exactly, but at least to some degree of reliability. 3, 5, or 10 millimeters here or there, but at least roughly half liter, 3/4 liter, 2 liters, something like this. May not be liters. 3 cups, teacups, normal teacups, 5 teacups, one full magga, whatever it is, some kind of measure. Is it possible to measure the volume of air that we take in during normal breathing? And then this extension, what happens when it's a deep breathing? Is there any way? Can you think of something? I'm raising similar question in the classroom when we are dealing with, say, respiratory system, human respiratory system and all that. Again, without declaration, that this is a topic we will be doing today. When I get in the class, I raise this question, oh, I have a very question and I'm not getting the answer. Will you help me? I raise this question. We have been breathing for years together. How much air will we breathe? I want to measure it. Can you help me in finding out the way? With that, maybe you will have a very simple. Look at this. A beginner bottle, some water here. Putting the lid above, quickly I invert it into some other tray with enough water in it. Before that, I may ask a question. Oh, now there is some water in this bottle. If I invert it in the water itself, will the water in this bottle will flow out completely? Will remain at this level, outer level, or it maintain its own level? Make a guess. Ask the students. Then do it quickly and let them see. Many of them will be surprised. So this is part one. Take a long enough plastic tubing and slightly tilting this bottle, insert one end of this tubing right up to the bottom of this bottle. Okay, when that is done, you are almost done with. Ask some student in front and tell him, look, here is a bottle, this tubing. You have to breathe normally, normal breathing. Don't take deep breath. But the condition is now you will not breathe through your nose. You have to breathe in and breathe out through this tube only, holding it end in mouth. Start doing it. Child starts doing, others with their eye on child and the bottle, and sudden shout, oh, water in the bottle is rising up. And again it's going down. Again rising up, dancing up and down. Oh, why should it happen? Oh, because he's taking air from here. Oh, very good. So what was the initial level? Put a mark. Up to which level did water rise? Put another mark. And then simply ask somebody to keep adding water to make up the space from this mark to this mark. Because this was the difference in levels. And if I measure this water, volume of this water, maybe using cup, milk measure, or any other vessel, I have the answer. How much air do I breathe in? But right in the beginning, ask the child. He should not leave this tube unless I tell you to leave it. And everybody will notice that after a few breaths, his face becomes uneasy. And at some moment, he leaves the tube. Ask him, hey, why did you leave without instruction? He says, oh, it was difficult. I was suffocating. Then ask others, why should it happen? He is breathing the same air, breathing out the air in the bottle again. So taking in same air, After few breaths, he becomes uneasy. Why should it happen? Okay. So measuring the volume of air that we breathe in, breathe out is not a very big challenge. Acha, textbooks will not talk about it. Maybe you can extend it further also. What about deep breathe? How many times larger volume? Again, some other trick. And always it's better to keep these challenges for children. I want to see this. I want to check this. How can it be done? Suggest your ideas. And maybe not in the same classroom period. Right away. Declare it. You design it something, and maybe after 4 days, whatever you think of, whatever you have done, bring it to the class. So this will give you clearly a very simple trick. A long polythene bag intact without any puncture. Just empty it, remove as much air inside as possible. Ask the child to take a deep breath and blow out all that air into this plastic tube, the polythene tube. From the other end, start squeezing it so as to push the air to the other end. At certain stage, you will find its appearance like balloon, so no more squeezing needed. Make a mark at that level. Rest of the job is simple. Again, filling that bag from bottom to this mark, and you have the volume, volume of air. So children enjoy facing such problems and challenges, coming out with their own ideas, their own creativity, and things like that. Maybe few other examples. In one bottle, mix some water, half the water, half the bottled water, and some oil. Can be diesel, petrol, some other oil. Take it to the class and tell them, oh, by mistake this got mixed up. And now my family member wants every drop of this oil back. Every drop. No question. I tried it. Can you help me? Suddenly one child will come, tilt the bottle. So initially oil will start coming out, but within moments, within seconds, realize that at the horizontal level, it's impossible. The tilting doesn't happen. Then somebody will try it again and just provide a plastic tubing like this. And I said, can you use it? And definitely you will find at least one child in the class who will just push it inside, suck it out, and just like siphon, without knowing the word siphon, siphoning technique, will start getting something. And the moment it touches, the surface touches the bottom, take out the tube. The child himself will do it. Okay, then you can ask, oh, you tried this. Somebody else wants to try this. So you sucked out water and let the oil remain inside. Another fellow wants to suck out oil and leave the water inside. Which is easier? One. Okay. And with these things of enjoyment, interesting activities, you can easily reach to this level. What is it? The same thing, but made very convenient with a tap outlet. Just at a particular moment you can close the tap. And then what it is and where is it used, labs, advanced equipment, all sorts of things you can do. And ask the children with our home uh, materials available in the home, can you design something which can be used exactly like this? And don't be surprised if some 8 or 10 children come out with their own ideas. Some plastic bottle hole at the bottom, plastic tubing pushed there, and a pinch cock at the end. So instead of this knob, that just close. Somebody even without that, oh, when this lower liquid comes out, the last drop touches here, just hold that tubing and the flow will stop. Whatever left inside is yours. So maybe half a dozen designs of homemade separating funnels. And other children will start enjoying it, using it right in the class and enjoying that. And then they start feeling, oh, if he can do this, why can't I? If he can come out with such a kind of idea, why not I? So the next opportunity, that child also jumps into. So experiments or activities. What is that? We are taking entire freedom. I know what is the point to be brought out, but how I will decide. That is my freedom. Nobody is going to challenge. And whether the syllabus was completed, certainly yes, because I have designed everything on the basis of whatever is there in the syllabus. So this is one thing. Then maybe we can go to. It's not for only primary simple. Look, I have something here, very familiar. Okay, what is this? Just a second, and it's hanging here. I try to change its direction, position, whatever it is. Look, I'm twisting this thread. Look at my fingertips. Okay. But the moment it is steady, you will find no matter how I hold this, its ends remain in the same direction. Same direction. And you can ask the children, what are these directions? You know where the sun rises, where the sun sets in our town, and looking at that, tell me which is this direction, which is this direction. Answer will be north south. Even if I'm trying to change that, the fellow is not willing to change that. What does it mean? Somebody will say, is it a magnet? Okay, we have to check. How can you check? Leave it in the hands of children and ask them. They just check, make sure whether it's a magnet or not. And then some children will quickly take it to the iron bars of the window or the grill of the door or the steel chair in the class. Take it near and will start jumping. Look, look, I'm sure this is magnet. Okay, this is magnet. And not willing to change the direction except north south. Maybe I can have something which will work and then take something like this. Oh, I'm not touching it. And just a movement of this object in my hand compels it to change that position. Instead of north south, this will govern which way it will stand now. What does it mean? This also must be a magnet. So attraction, repulsion, similar poles, dissimilar poles, whatever it is. So this can help a magnet nearby. I keep this magnet aside. Okay. Is it a magnet? No. It's simply coil, many rounds of copper wire, varnished copper wire, coated copper wire. Okay. Made into a big ring, several rounds, 10, 15 or so. I can make this blade rest here somewhere near the center of this coil. Okay. Still, it maintains the same direction. No matter if I change, if I move it like this, it will remain steady in the same direction. Okay. If I take a battery cell like this, normal battery cell, make the ends of this coil touch positive and negative terminals. Make sure one thing, those ends must be scrapped once. Remove that coating, otherwise nothing will happen. And see what happens. Every time you touch it, the blade will start dancing. Take away the connection, north south. Change the direction of this cell, that is polarity, and now see what happens. But one thing is very sure, every time you make this connection, blade behaves differently, it changes the direction. What was our observation? Only magnet nearby can compel it to change direction. Now no magnet. And with electricity, similar effect. Can all this experience be helpful in taking children to some high level physics? Faraday's laws and all those things. So it's not merely as a fun toy. It can be used as a toy for class 5, 6, 7. It can be an activity and observation exercise. What happens when? At 8, 9th. Then if I change the number of rounds in the coil, what happens? And many other things. So leave it to children. But giving some idea. And again, rest assured that within 3 or 4 days, every child has tried it, shown it to his parents, neighbors, and tried to explain the science behind it. So activities is just one thing. Maybe we can have few more tricks. Now I don't have to describe anything. The illustration itself can give you idea. What is this? A polythene, transparent polythene bag, dry inside, just inverted on the branch on a twig with few leaves inside. Close the mouth. Remind it was dry inside. And after half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, look at it. What do you see? Droplets of water. Maybe for some other plants, water collected at the bottom. Maybe half a cup, or during the day, one full cup of water. So will the amount of that water, volume of that water, same for every plant? If I try it with bubble plant, Apuntia, hibiscus, and many sorts of plants around me, can I come up with some new observation? Which plants give out more water? Which can be called desert plants, not losing a lot of water, and many other things. Okay. So before talking about transpiration, rate of transpiration, and things like that, I don't have to perform this activity in the class. Just declare it in the class. Oh, I have heard that leaves of plants give out water. I have never seen it. But somebody can try it with polythene bag fitted like this. Each one of you will try with different plants around you and report your observations in the class next week. Then you will be surprised the variety of plants and children's observations in early hours of morning what happened. In the same duration of 2 hours in the afternoon what happened. When was the rate higher? And many other things. Children will come out with their own observations. I don't have to teach anything. Simply summarize it in the class from the observations and reports of many other children. Similarly, no need to comment. Methods of separation, centrifuge, is that. Simply a handrail, muddy water prepared in the glass, adding some soil or maybe slaked lime to water, putting it here and try. What happens with very slow rotation for 2 minutes? What happens if I increase the speed of rotations? How much time does it take to settle down? All those things. So many things which we keep on crying, oh, we don't have equipment, we don't have laboratory, we don't have lab assistant, and so on. Taking help of children itself will make them remember. One small experience, small but very important. Look at this. In a similar manner, I had declared in the class 6, in a very remote village, tribal area. That textbook says that plants always grow towards the side where light is enough sunlight is available. I really don't believe. They will grow at their own rate. So whether what textbook says is right or wrong, or false rather wrong, we have to check. And you have to come up with some idea, not necessarily same with everybody. Your own idea. And after 15 days, you have to report whether what I said is right, correct, or not. You can try it with different varieties of plants also, not necessarily same kind. It can be jawar, wheat, then chana, all sorts of things. Okay, but there is one condition. What is that? You are not allowed to use some cardboard box or some container like this with a small window cut on one side and plants growing inside that box. That is not allowed because textbook gives that diagram. I want something else. You try your own ideas. And next week, after 10 days, bring whatever you have designed, whatever you have done to the class and let your friends enjoy it. Tell them from where did you get the idea and all that. And literally, I was very much surprised. Almost every child had brought something. Of course, some were duplications, but some were not. Very interesting and important ones were. One child has made a hole in the earthen pot. I asked him, how did you make it? What is not broken? And then he was describing with action. Oh, with a pointed nail, with gentle strikes right in the beginning. I could made a small hole. Then using a plier like things, I broke small pieces on the edge of that hole and make it little bigger, and that's enough. And then planted seeds or sow the seeds with soil in that pot, different kinds of seeds, and had again earthen lid because those are common things in the villages. And then he said, initially for 4 5 days when plants started growing, there was no change. But after a week, when their height increased, I could notice that all of them are bending towards this window. I asked him, how did you know when it's closed? No, every day morning before the sunrise, I used to lift that lid and peek inside. That was one thing. Very strange was one girl, she had brought that old kind of historical hat which the military people or police people in British Raj used to have, or hunters in the forest. That kind of khaki kapda for the hat with cardboard and all that, put on a small plank, just like Ganesh had all. She brought it to class very carefully without the others touching it, not allowing. Wait, keep away, keep away. And then when her turn came, she showed that below that hat, in a small dish, there were plants growing. And from one side, a small tiny hole, one could easily some twigs coming out, small leaflets and all that. I asked her, what made you to use this hat and spoil this hat rather? Will your parents allow it? Or they will scold you? She started smiling. She said, no, this is the hat of my grandpa. He was in army. He died long back. But his hat is still there in our house. Somehow, some mouse or rat spoiled it, made a hole inside. But as a memory of our grandpa, it's still hanging there. So I thought, why can't I use this? You said no box allowed. So I did this. So children's creativity, you just keep them the challenge, allow some time, and then ask them to bring it to class and present it to other friends. So many skills, ideas, innovation, creativity, how to do this, manual skills, and how to communicate. So this is not part of science textbook, but certainly part of science teaching. So very easy to do this. There can be some funny questions raised, which students are supposed to find out their own answers, not from the textbook, but go to the doctor, go to a veterinary doctor, go to some agriculture specialist, and ask them. Just for example, oh, we are taught about human heart. It has four chambers and their names and all that. Is it true that every animal on this earth has four chambers? Where do you get the answer? Oh, nowadays there is internet and all those things, but ask children not to refer to the internet, but find out a person who is likely to know the answer. It can be a college professor of that subject. It can be some professional in the surrounding, a hospital, doctor in the hospital, or assistant. But sources of information. From where can I get information about this? Making that judgment, going to that person, talking to him, acquiring information, and then presenting it to others. Very important. Very important. But textbook lessons can't help in this. Why not? I provide opportunities. Because these skills will come only through opportunity. If there is no opportunity, we didn't have in our classes when we were students. But deliberately, if I create such opportunities again and again and again, students trying their own ideas, appreciating ideas of others, deciding that, oh, next time I will also do something like this. That will be a great achievement. And certainly those children will remember you. Just may I end with some other trick? We can have stories. Very funny stories for creating interest. For example, oh, there was one person went on a morning walk in a very, very cold area, cold region, the forest. And he saw there was a snake lying on his way. With the stick in the hand, he touched the skin. No movement at all. Oh, perhaps it is that. Again, touched it again and again, and picked it up because it was. And he was surprised. He believed that it was not a real snake. It was a wooden carving. Some artist had carved it from wood so nicely with every scale and all that. It appeared very real, very real. Very good piece for showcase. Picked it up, put it in the big inner pocket of his overcoat, which was meant for the extreme cold there, and started walking. After some time, he felt some movement in the pocket. He put his hand inside and suffered a snake bite. This is my story. Now, just decide which part of the story is true, which part of the story is false. A wooden snake and snake bite. Just think about and decide which part can be true and which can be false. Or whether everything is true. So to find out the answer, will you go to forest in cold region with overcoat and start looking for the snakes around? No need. Just try this in your classroom. Certainly there will be at least one or two guys in the class who are not scared of picking up some animals. Ask them to get one frog. Not a very, very baby frog, but slightly adult frog, like. And they will help. Not immediately the next day, take 2, 3 hours a day. So ask the children, how many of you have never seen a frog in your life? Again, some funny smile. Oh, everybody has seen it. Okay, you have seen it. Tell me, how many digits, how many fingers, कितनी उंगलियां होती है उसके पाए? टीचर से मैं पूछता हूँ, रिटायरमेंट के पास आए हुए, और वो मुंह ताकते रहते हैं कि कितनी उंगलियां होती है, तो क्या हर एक के लिए 5 उंगली कंपल्सरी है? और फ्रॉग की है कितनी? आपने फ्रॉग देखा है ना जिंदगी में कई बार, तो बता दो. दिस इज व्हाट आई मीन अगेन एंड अगेन. सिंपली सीइंग इज वन थिंग, observe is something else. It requires deliberate, keen observation of anything that I want to observe. Okay, so how many of you will answer it right now? Okay, how many fingers, how many digits does a frog have? Make your own answer, then we will verify it. Does the frog has nails at the end of its fingers, or it doesn't have nails? Finally, can a frog hear sounds? Has it ears? And if no ears, can it hear sound? And if he himself cannot hear sounds, why does it produce the sound? So questions like this, which seem very strange, everybody starts making his own guess on basis of certain observations, experiences, and all that. And then put that frog in a in a bottle, just like the one we use for that breathing experience. Like in a bottle, put some little water in it, put the frog inside, live frog. Maybe children can come closer and observe, talk about their own observations and all that. Let some time for that. Let them come near the table and then ask them, now observe. Now see what I do and what happens. Add few big enough blocks of ice, maybe ice cubes or pieces of big ice block. The frog will immediately start jumping very harshly. Put a lid, hold it in place. It will jump for few seconds, trying as if trying to escape, and then slowly stretch its legs and go to sleep. Let it be there for some time. Children will start shouting, "Oh, it's dead! It's dead! It's dead!" All right. After a few minutes, take it out and show the children it has become stiff, so stiff that if you strike it into a metal plate, it makes that metallic sound as if it is struck by wood. Oh, it's dead. You killed him. Children. Okay. Throw out all the ice in the bottle. Leave that tough rock inside the bottle. Keep it on the table and start talking about something else or teaching your lesson ahead. Few children will have their eyes fixed on that bottle itself, and suddenly, they will start shouting. Others look at them and another, and they find that frog has taken inside the stretched legs. It's looking around, and it has started moving, making movements inside. Just release that frog on the ground, it will start jumping and try to escape out of the class or something. Then ask the children, was it dead? You were crying. It's dead. Was it dead? But it behaved like as if it dead. So was it playing some drama? And then tell them. It simply shows that it cannot maintain its own body temperature, blood temperature. So when it's very hot, body also becomes hot. When it's very cold around, it becomes cold. It cannot control its own temperature. That's not the case with us. Even if we go to cold place, Our temperature remains the same. Even in summer, it's the same. So we have special ability of maintaining the temperature in fixed range. But there are some that frog itself showed us that it cannot do that. Body temperature, same as surrounding temperature. So those animals which cannot maintain their body temperature, no control, depends on surrounding temperature, they are called cold-blooded. And animals like us, no matter what happens in the surrounding, my body temperature will remain the same range with little fluctuation. They are called warm-blooded. Now you have seen all this, how the frog behaved and all that. Relate this with that snake story and then decide whether everything that was told to you was false, whether everything was true, or there is chance. Perhaps if it is this, then let the children enjoy, talk to each other, come out with their own decision and all that. And now they will certainly understand, or their understanding will go far beyond simple words, warm blooded and cold blooded, remembering it till exam, getting confused later on, and things to be forgotten. Which are the animals that are warm blooded, which ones are cold blooded, and all that. Till the exam, just remember it and then forget it. Coming out of that, when right in the beginning we said, when our students today become grandfathers several years ahead, their grandchildren come to them and say, "Oh, our teacher was saying something like the warm blooded, cold blooded." I didn't understand. That fellow, that old grandpa, will laugh. At that moment, he will certainly remember you and tell the children, "Hey, come here. When I was a child like you, my teacher had shown me some fun." So, whether enjoying the pleasure of teaching science, something like that exists. Bhante. Is it in our reach with all other limitations? Can we enjoy that? As a science teacher, I really feel I must have that pleasure. Bring something very special which children will never forget, which will take their understanding of points, concepts little ahead of the textbook, and they will start thinking, critical thinking, logical thinking, whatever, what sorts of thinking, creative ideas, and hands on. And remember one thing, infection. That's a very common word nowadays. And it has some negative value judgment. That means whenever somebody says infection, it's always undesirable. That's what people feel. Undesirable, unwanted thing to be avoided. And several diseases like measles, smallpox, and many others. Even simple cold, they're infectious diseases. Okay? But remember all the time that teachers' enthusiasm is far more infectious than measles, cold, sore eyes, and things like that. When students see the enthusiasm of the teachers, they join hands and multiplier effect, get infected with that enthusiasm. So try to seek every opportunity that you provide. So our task is designing opportunities, making them and presenting them in very attractive manner, integrating several other related concepts with whatever I'm trying to show, make them think, make them work, and all that, and that will certainly provide you pleasure of teaching. Never be scared about the strange questions. If children start behaving like this, then certainly they will have their own curiosities, very strange questions for which we are not equipped with answers. Don't be scared of that. With every such occasion, every such opportunity, you can straightway say, right now, we don't know answers. You don't know, I also don't know. But we will find somebody who knows about this. Maybe college professor, doctor, things like that, I said earlier. And we will talk to them about this point. If you get the answer first, you will report it to the class. If I get it first, I will. We'll keep on finding out the answer, seeking information about it, and whoever gets the answer will let all others to know about it. So that increases the respect of children towards that teacher. Instead of shouting at him, slapping him, nowadays slapping is no more existing, but scolding him in harsh words. Oh, think of the exam. What was your score in the last exam? Don't be over smart. Whatever is written in the textbook, read that. Children don't like that. But showing them the way, oh, look, you see that person, meet this person, get to this source, and I will also try. Respect it. If you want that your students will remember you throughout life, maybe a simple sight of a frog around makes them smile and remember you. Oh, frog, I remember. Enjoy, keep enjoying pleasure of teaching science. Freedom from the textbook is the simple trick. Wish you all the best. If you have any queries, I will be very happy to help you in finding out answers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, your talk was excellent. There is no problem as such. Everybody enjoyed because the kind of the chat, the live chat, the teachers they have put, it's an excellent. कुछ teachers लोगों को कुछ difficulties and questions are there. So shall I ask you the
Mhm.
question right now?
Oh,
Shall I
yeah,
put the
sure.
question
Right
in
now.
front of you? Okay.
Right now.
Now this is from Priyanka Chauhan. I have seen sometimes children remember stories, okay, etc. But in what context it was taught or what and that scientific term they get confused. So when we tell them stories, they get confused with the scientific stories, right? They get confused or didn't remember. So what to do in such case? If they don't remember the scientific terms, then what to do? That is a question.
Okay, scientific terms, it's a altogether different issue because most of the scientific terms, technological terms, they have a system, a design, and many times in the Indian context, they are Sanskrit based. Children feel difficulties in uttering them, remembering them, and meaning behind that. Correct. But regarding that story part, if the teacher is simply mechanically doing the thing, somebody said that to tell the stories and related with the relevant facts or points in the concept. So I have this story, I told the story, and then again I got into the textbook and started doing the rest bookie business. Certainly that's going to happen. Children will simply remember the story without any linkage In
Yeah.
fact, that story should become the basis for the understanding of the thing that I'm
Right.
talking
Right.
about.
Right. Yes. Yes. True.
If teacher is aware that why am I still telling this story, and finally what outcome I want, then that approach will not lead to this situation. Ah,
Great.
reading and uttering and pronouncing of those technical terms, that's
Hmm.
yet another thing. In especially
That's
in villages and tribal areas and all that, that's a severe problem. But teacher has to help at least at present. Maybe in new policy, you people will consider it as another thing. Good.
so. There is one more chart. This is from Lata Devi. What she wrote is an excellent thing. Really good and the best teaching method with simple activities and also to create scientific aptitude in small minds. We teacher need more focus on this. That is a compliment to your talk, sir.
Thank
But then
you,
there,
thank you.
yeah, but there is a question also. It is from Cheruvu Yazulu. In teaching, theory first, latter experiment, or vice versa, is a best practice. So you want to know that whether theory first or practical first.
Okay, in that context, I would say avoid the word experiment itself
Right.
because decades over, experiments have acquired some very strange status. Things not to be done because there are no facilities, no equipment, whatever it is, to be mugged up like a poem and to be recited. Sunlight is essential for photosynthesis. Tell the experiment. As if a poem or a song, child
Hmm.
starts saying without understanding what is chloroform, what is chlorophyll, and all. So I always avoid the word experiment itself because what is
Hmm.
the purpose of doing all this? Providing the child an experience which will be enjoyable, interesting, which will make him think and come out with his own curiosities and ideas. How can I find out answer to this?
Right. Right.
So if
Yeah.
teacher himself remains assured that what I am trying is designing one experience like this, which the
Hmm.
child will remember forever.
That's true.
And the
Because
second thing,
experience is the best
so
teacher. Yeah.
obviously, my choice will be provide that experience first, let him enjoy, let him try, let him speak about it to his parents, neighbors, and all that, and become enthusiastic. Look,
Hmm.
do you know this? I know this. That builds up confidence. If that is
Right.
the case, then no question whether experience first and textbook later, or textbook first and experience later.
Whatever is the best that we can do it at that
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
Yeah, great. There is one more small inquiry. This is from Oinam Ibocho. Before starting class, what is asking? Before starting class or during class, hands-on will be very effective. Wanted to know whether it is during class, starting at the beginning, or during the class. Hands-on activity will be very effective. If there is not possible to hands-on, what other type of method is suitable? So in some of the cases, there is no hands-on activity possible. All right, you have explained a lot of activities which we never think that this can be an activities. But suppose a teacher is unable to have an hands-on activity for a particular topic. So what should be the suitable method? That is what he want to know.
Okay, there can be two different answers. There is no suitable activity. That can be the impression or opinion by that person. The reasons can be varied. He is a chemistry graduate and now he is asked to teach biology, then vegetative reproduction of yeast, budding, and all that. He himself didn't have any opportunity to learn. And now today you are
Right.
asking him to DNA, for example, separation of DNA.
Hmm.
We don't have equipment
Right.
to actually show the DNA, but DNA filament, DNA is a material. How does it look like? What is the color? There can be very easy method. Just take some cabbage or spinach and materials like that. Some are more suitable. And with simple technique, even in primary school, finally you can come out with some white
Hmm.
material, which itself is DNA.
And with simple
So
technique,
for
even in
somebody,
primary school, finally
uh,
you can.
for somebody, something related with DNA is impossible. But if you go to a proper person, he will give you a straight protocol. Take this much of cabbage, crush it, add some water to this, add chloroform, filter it, and something like this. The material you finally get is DNA. So, impossible. There can be some idea, some concept where activity is impossible, is personal. Maybe you can talk to somebody else. Maybe you can share your own ideas, problems amongst the groups of teachers, or like Shiksha Shilpi program experts and all that. And more chances are there that they can suggest few activities. If not readily available, several minds will
Yeah.
start thinking about it, and finally we will have something to at
So,
least try. So I'm not getting your sound, Bhattaji.
hmm, I can suggest
Yeah.
you can write
Since yeah.
your
आ रही क्या उनकी आवाज? हेमंत जी आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है.
हमारा नहीं आ रहा है या आप लोगों का यहाँ
activities
नहीं
in
आ
our
रहा है?
नहीं, हेमंत जी का नहीं आ रहा.
हाँ, मुझे भी नहीं आ रहा है हेमंत जी का.
Right, till his mic I
Telegram
mean
group,
becomes
so
functional.
that in case if we have any
Okay, till his mic is getting functional. Sir, let me read out certain comments what the teachers they have said. Very nice. A good lecture based on the basic concepts and awesome lecture. Sukhdev, the name, the teacher's name is Sukhdev. Then good learning session, touch the heart, Shekhar Sarangi. Wonderful session. She is Pushpa Kumari. Then another, curiosity is the state of mindful force within the hungry mind, supercharging learning. Thank you, making the session very inquisitive. Thank you, Shiksha Shilpi team. Komal Rekha teacher. We do this in the Vigyan Mela. One of the teacher, yes, she has said it. Whatever activities you have shown it never. Easy activity to show air rises up. Chand Kausal teacher has written this. One of the best session in this series. Chandralekha and Dilip Vaze, they have mentioned this. Then, then sir, so nice. Topic is very informative and valuable, but the feeling some difficulty in to listen as the voice is not clear. तो आपको थोड़ा सा loudly बोलना था, ऐसा उनका कहना है. Latha Devi has written this. Very informative and useful for teachers. ये शर्मा जी का कहना है, दिस टाइप ऑफ लेक्चर्स आर रिक्वायर्ड इन दिस सीरीज। सुखदेव जी का कहना है, वेरी नाइस सेशन। ये श्रद्धा कोरगांवकर मैडम जी लिखते हैं, एंड very interesting session, attending such session is worthwhile। सुमन मैडम जी लिखते हैं, very good way of engaging students। पूर्वा मैडम जी लिखते हैं, then really good and the best teaching method with the simple activities and also to create scientific activities in the young minds, we teachers need more focus on this। ये रेड्डी बोरी टीचर जी लिखते हैं, सर सो नाइस। कितने सारे, फ्रॉम कन्याकुमारी टू कश्मीर एंड फ्रॉम गुजरात टू आसाम, एट द डिफरेंट प्लेसेस टीचर्स आर लिसनिंग टू यू, एंड so nicely they have given। What I will say is, sir, in most of the time I refer to the Mahabharata and all that. In the Gita, Krishna, while telling to the Arjuna, he had said कि बेटा अर्जुना, इट इज नेसेसरी फर्स्ट, ये छोटे 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 जो विजय है ना वो प्राप्त करने की आवश्यकता है, तब जाके आप बड़ा विजय डाइजेस्ट कर सकते हो। मेरे ख्याल से गंभीर सर, आज आपने इतने छोटे छोटे एक्सपेरिमेंट बहुत ही सुंदर तरीके से, और उसमें इतना सारा विज्ञान जो भरा हुआ है, और वो अगर हम करेंगे तो अपने आप नेचुरल जो बड़ा प्रयोग करने के लिए जो एक प्रकार के एक इंट्यूशन निर्माण होता है, उसका आपने बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन आज छोटा छोटा छोटा, वैसे तो आपने कोई क्या कहेंगे आप एपरेटस यूज मतलब दिखाया, लेकिन पेपर के ऊपर, दिस इज आल्सो वन ऑफ द नाइस मेथड ऑफ टीचिंग, कि बहुत अच्छी तरीके से शिक्षकों को, शिक्षक टीचर लोग जो है ना बहुत अच्छी तरीके से समझे जो आपने बताया। मेरा थोड़ा सा दिल रहा नहीं जाता है। आई वुड लाइक टू टेल टू द टीचर्स, इफ यू गो टू मतलब my YouTube channel Rayagaonkar, you will find some of the more of them such types of experiments। I think पांडे जी has come। सर आपको कुछ कहना है? हेमंत जी, आपका माइक ठीक हो गया? तो बहुत ही अच्छा, मतलब शिक्षकों का इस प्रकार से कहना था इन ऑल सर, गंभीर सर, कि आप जो कर रहे हैं ये बहुत ही अच्छा है, और इसी प्रकार से विद्यार्थियों को ये समझना।
बहुत सुंदर रिस्पॉन्स आया, टीचर्स लोगों चाहते हैं कि आप हमारे यहाँ आकर भी पढ़ाएं। ये
चलो आप मौका देते रहो जहां तक हो सकता है, because I also need the pleasure of interacting with
शिक्षा शिल्पी।
Right. So after this क्या कहेंगे आप, लॉकडाउन पीरियड, we'll be arranging some direct क्या कहेंगे face to face programs in some different places in all over India। Certainly at that time our Shiksha Shilpi
online programs, yes,
need you।
Oh, sure, that will be a pleasure। Thank you।
हेमंत जी, आपका माइक और भी प्रॉब्लम कर रहा है, आवाज आ रही है हेमंत जी? Well, his mic is not acha। Now we are coming to the end of the session। It is nearly 6:58 and 2 more minutes, so let me use this for the vote of thanks। सर कैसे गए? बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से आपने छोटे छोटे प्रयोगों में से बताया। रघुनाथ माशेलकर जी से आपने शुरुआत की, और ये सही है कि उनका जो इतने बड़े वो वैज्ञानिक बने, उनका इंस्पायरेशन एक उनके चौथी पांचवी कक्षा में पढ़ाने वाले टीचर थे, जिन्होंने बस एक कॉन्वेक्स लेंस बाहर लेकर गए और वो सारे रेज एक साथ कैसे कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड है, इतना सिंपल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन दिखाया था। उन्होंने किसी बहुत बड़े प्रोफेसर का नाम नहीं लिया, तो कितनी बड़ी बात है। टीचर कैन बी ए चाणक्य, अगर वो अपना यूज करता है तो वो चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य निर्माण कर सकता है। वो दैट इज द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ ए टीचर। बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से आपने बताया, और सिंपल से मेरा एक्सपेरिमेंट, स्टीरियो विजन का एक्सपेरिमेंट फिंगर टिप्स के माध्यम से, जहां से कंबाइंड विजन का एक्सपेरिमेंट, परसेप्शन प्रिपरेशन ऑफ द ऑक्सीजन, मैच बॉक्स कैसे पकड़े। सर बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा, बहुत शिक्षकों को ये अच्छा लगा, मुझे भी अच्छा लगा कि ये नहीं बताया जाता है कि मतलब सम पेरेंट्स, ऐसा नहीं कि टीचर्स को ही सब कुछ पढ़ाना है, पेरेंट्स की भी जिम्मेदारी होती है, ग्रैंडफादर ग्रैंडमदर, कि भाई ये कैसी छोटी छोटी जो बातें है ना, ये कैसा होता है। वो इस प्रकार से भी कहा जाता है ना, वो जो स्टीम इंजन का जो इन्वेंशन हुआ, वो दैट वाज फ्रॉम द होम। वो जो ग्रैंडमदर है, वो ग्रैंडमदर ने बताया, वो जो चाय के पतीले के ऊपर जो लीड था वो ऐसा 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 वाइब्रेट हो रहा था, एंड देन दैट uh, that was ended into the invention of the steam engine. पेपर का स्पाइरल कितना छोटा, लेकिन बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से आपने डेमोन्स्ट्रेट किया. पॉलिथीन बैग एंड ब्रांच, साइफन टेक्निक, ब्लेड, थ्रेड एंड द कॉइल, ये किसी ने इमेजिन भी नहीं किया था कि इतना सुंदर तरीके से हम बता सकते हैं. एंड इतने मतलब छोटे छोटे एक्सपेरिमेंट से बहुत अच्छी बातें आपने बता दी. सर, शिक्षा शिल्पी की तरफ से मैं आपका अत्यंत हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ. बहुत अच्छा, बार बार हम आपको तकलीफ दे देंगे. जितने सारे शिक्षक इस कार्यक्रम को सुन रहे हैं, सारे शिक्षकों को मैं धन्यवाद दे देता हूँ. और आप सारे शिक्षक जिन लोगों ने इतना सारा लिखा है, मतलब सुना है अच्छे तरीके से, हृदय तक बात पहुंची है, हृदय तक बात पहुंचती है कान के माध्यम से, तब जाके कुछ बाहर आता है, अन्यथा बाहर नहीं आता है. एवरीबडी इज रनिंग, मतलब बिहाइंड द रनिंग अवे, बट डेफिनेटली यू लाइक इट, सभी को अच्छा लगा और इसीलिए आपने लिखा है. सबका इसलिए मैं हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ. जो हमारे टेक्निकल टीम है, इतना समय बैठकर अच्छी तरीके से सारा प्रोग्राम कवर करना और सक्सेस उसमें से दे देना, वो ये बहुत बड़ी बात होती है. आप सभी टेक्निकल टीम का मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ. हमारे सारे जो शिक्षा शिल्पी कोर टीम के मेंबर्स है, वो सभी का मैं धन्यवाद व्यक्त करूंगा. और फिर से एक बार गंभीर साहब, बहुत अच्छा लगा, आपको अत्यंत मनपूर्वक आभार. मेरे ख्याल से 7:01 हो गया और यहाँ पर हम लोग रुकते हैं. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you.
um,